Hi, my name is Stephanie Williams. I grew up in the LDS faith and grew up in the Heber Valley, and I've lived here my whole life. Never left. And I am a mom to 3 kids, and this is my story. I grew up in a very religious family. I grew up LDS and grew up with a belief in God. That was kind of my base, and I never really questioned that. Socially, I always loved it. I have always had a real love for people, and so the LDS community is a really tight-knit group. For the most part, those were the people that I was surrounded by. It was very outward. I believed in God, but there wasn't really a personal relationship. And my frame of reference for God is that, he had these certain things that were really, laid out, that this is what we're supposed to do. And so like my faith and my religion was very, worked out very much, physically, like these are all the things that you should do. And so, do them. And that was kind of it. I think my idea of God was that, he made us, put us down on this earth, and then just kind of took his hands off. And, it's like, I've given you the things that you're supposed to do. Now kind of figure it out. I didn't even really know that there was a personal relationship to be had there. Ultimately, what happened that caused me to look a little further is I had family members that were having some issues with our faith, and they had kind of questioned me on it and were asking for help, basically. And I agreed to help them, and I was also worried for them that if they were to stir all of these questions up, that the devil is so cunning and deceptive that he would pull them away. One thing kind of led to another, and there just became things that just didn't sit right in my heart, just from historical issues, but also church policy or doctrine inconsistencies, and what ultimately I just couldn't stay there anymore. From there, my world was really shattered. I felt like everything that I ever knew or thought about God, I wasn't so sure about anymore. So much so that I wouldn't say that I ever disbelieved in God. I'd already, done a lot of work on just the logical proofs of God, that I still believed in a creator. I still believed in a divine being that made the earth and made us and all of the intricacies of that. But it did kind of leave me with not being sure I could trust anything else. Still trying to figure out who God even is, if I liked this God, if he loved or cared about me. So I was kind of at ground zero, maybe a step above ground zero. But, coming from a place of just feeling like I really had it figured out, I just had like a plan that if I followed, then everything was going to be okay. And so having that kind of ripped out from underneath me, that was pretty devastating. Definitely went through a depression, was very, very angry. Felt like I needed to kind of like withdraw from everyone, because I felt like everyone just like had these opinions, or these thoughts or these beliefs or these knowledges, but I didn't have those. And nobody could give those to me. So I started to dig. I I look back on that time and it's like I was getting up at like 5 in the morning and I was studying the Bible. I was getting up at 5 in the morning and I was watching YouTube videos of other people who had faith walks, who had come from a similar background from me, and where they went, what conclusions they came to after I had spent all of this time researching. I remember I got to this place where I was like, Jesus is real. He is a historical figure that even the secular world acknowledges him, and that there are proofs and prophecies and things that really just defy understanding that happened, and that we can, as much as we can. I wasn't there, and so like it wasn't that I never had questions again, but it was just like, no, this is like a real person, someone that I can, I don't know, something that I can stand on. So at that time, I had some extenuating circumstances and life started to get hard. My husband started to have some pretty serious health issues, and my kind of previous satisfaction is like, okay, like I believe in Jesus. I believe that he is who he says he is, but I don't know him necessarily. But the hard circumstances kind of made it necessary for me to know. It's like, okay, God, like my life is hard. I need to see you moving in my life. I need help. I need help in navigating this. So and I remember this really vividly. I was driving to homeschool co-op, and I was just telling God that I was done trying. Everything that I had done wasn't working, and my life yet again was falling to a new low. And I just told God that I couldn't do it, and that I was done trying. And all of a sudden, I just felt flooded. I felt that God told me that I didn't have to, that he knew that I couldn't do it. And just realizing that my hope was in Jesus and what he did, and not in what I could do. It was, I think I try really hard not to hyper spiritualize things. But it was absolutely like a visceral experience. And really the only way that I can describe it now is just feeling like I was flooded with love, flooded with God's love for me. And, I had met Jesus, I had met God in that moment. And he was real, both provably and physically, evidence-wise, but he was also real and could be experienced emotionally and spiritually. What Jesus Christ and what he represents to me now is that God is here, that he's interacting with us now, that he didn't just make us and leave us here and not give us anything to hold on to, that he didn't just expect us to have blind faith, that he had a plan and he had a purpose that he was carrying out himself, not based on what we do, but on what only God could accomplish, that God became flesh and lived the life that only a perfect God could live, and that is a perfect life. And then God had to become flesh in order to be able to die for us as a sacrifice for all the things that we couldn't do. And my favorite name that Jesus is called is Emmanuel, which means God with us. And for me, that was just that God would come down and be with us, that he would be flesh, and that he had every intention of doing that, that he had a plan to carry out those things. And then what's left is we just get to love him. We just get to be in relationship. And I think that's all, like I really wanted. I wanted to not have to just do XYZ in order to be acceptable to my Father in heaven. That I can have a relationship with him now.